Hello class. So for this week's assignment we're going to be using Google Earth. You can download that from just by Googling Google Earth. One very important thing I need to mention is that Google Earth is now also launchable in Chrome. And you can launch it and it looks like this. Very cool, very slick, and can be useful for a lot of things. You know, I actually just took a trip to Germany, and all of these points were places that I checked out there. Now, you won't be able to use this web-based version of Google Earth because it does not have the same functions that we need for our assignment. So it has limited functions, but you know, you can still go to the Earth versions here, and what you'll do is you'll download and install Google Earth Pro. Let me show you what that looks like. This is Google Earth Pro. It has a couple of, actually a lot of different features that you know, the web-based version does not. But for those of you who are not too familiar with how to use Google Earth Pro, navigation is pretty easy. You can zoom in and zoom out using the mouse wheel, or you can use this slider bar. You can also move side to side, panning, you know, that way instead of just dragging and whatnot. You can also turn which way is north, which can be useful in certain circumstances. But if you do end up in a scenario where you're no longer north, you can either click on this or you can just press R. R is my favorite because, you know, you can also change the angle at which you're viewing the Earth, and you can hit R again to automatically write it. So this assignment, we are going to take a look at glaciers and look at how they've, you know, changed shape over the years. And we can do that with some cool functions that Google Earth has. Now, some of these, I'm going to show you Google Earth and, you know, specifically how this time-lapse sort of thing works. So let's say we're going to take a look at this glacier, right? We'll click on this. Now this is a good example of how Google Earth might actually kind of trick you. So you see all these, you know, nicely spaced dashes on this bar, and in 1984 that seems to indicate that this last version would be imagery of 1984. And it does appear that that could be it. However, some of these don't actually represent the time that they represent on the scale. Some of them might. But I've noticed that some of them are actually just repeats. So do be aware and be careful of that. Also note what time of year that particular imagery was taken. This was taken in December, for example. Whereas sometimes you'll get imagery that's not in December. It'll be in, say, summer, you know, and that glacier might have melted quite a bit. So let's turn this off while we navigate. So let's go to Iceland. The land of the ice and snow, the midnight sun, and the hot springs flow, in case you didn't know. So let's check this place out right here. Okay, if we turn this back on, we can see this has kind of a different scale. So this would be 2013, 2012. So this has a lot less imagery in it, and you can see that some of this might actually be referring to this over here or this here. So do be kind of careful of that. But let's go ahead and search for Mount Rainier. I want to show you where I worked in 2012-2013. So this is Mount Rainier. It's the largest mountain in the Cascade Range. Volcano, of course. It is also home to the most glaciers in the lower 48 states. And this right here is the Emmons Glacier. It's the largest in the lower 48 states. And I used to live right up here at sunrise, so I got to see this thing every day if I wanted. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit R. You see how it kind of had us angled there. Let's turn time lapse on, and we can see quite a few more dates back to 1994. And what we're going to do is we're going to use ruler here, and we're going to choose. Now I've already taken a look at this in terms of how it changes, right? So if you look here, this is the current extent, and you can see it's kind of tough to see because it's dirty, but if you take a look at it, you can see the end of the glacier is like this. The river coming out of it is a good indicator. Ran out of disk space. It's a lie, but anyway, let's take a look right here. Okay, so we click the ruler there, and then we go ahead and move the timeline back. And so the glacier in 1994 seems to have been right about here as an equivalent, right? So it's maybe about 140 meters or so during that period of time. And that's all you really need to know. One of the other things you need to take a look at is the latitude and longitude down here. And if you start this up and you have a tour guide thing here, you'll need to click that and it'll go away and you can see some of these other functions. You can also see the data, the imagery here, so that can be helpful for determining what you're looking at exactly. Yeah, so you should have fun with this particular one. You can kind of zoom around and explore the Earth as much as you want. All right, good luck, guys.